in the early 20th century communicated through a basic system of marks, a code which probably through which they gave information and warnings to their fellow hobos. It's interesting, hobos, they didn't always refer to themselves as hobos. They referred to themselves as Knights of the Road, the K-N-I-G-H-T, with this kind of chivalric or this very noble kind of image that they presented of themselves. And that there again is that sort of distinction that they wanted to make between tramps or bums and things of that nature. Today's hobo. And in a way, we really kind of see how society has changed and, of course, has not changed. Often suffering from psychological problems, the homeless that populate modern cities live on the fringes of society. Despite social services programs, there are approximately 1.56 million homeless today. And here we kind of get this image of three men, but a very significant percentage of homeless individuals are teenagers, are young men and young women who sort of ran away from home or were forced out of their home for one reason or another. So it's much more of a broad kind of cross-section of people who are homeless. Today's hobo symbols, probably its most common form would be graffiti. The graffiti artists that we, if you were on your way here and you saw a train boxcar, you might see some of the images on the side of the train. Perhaps the most commonly identified form of symbols and signs present today are examples of spray-painted graffiti on boxcars. These individuals used stylized words, signs, symbols, and images to communicate to other graffiti artists. A lot of times you won't really know, whose name that is unless you're another graffiti artist and you recognize someone's tag or someone's sort of very, very stylized word. Particularly the image on the left here, my left, there's, we could try to figure out a name inside of that, but it's also meant to kind of be, for the lack of a better word, kind of hermetic. It's a private sort of expression only known to those individuals, who are artists. This is another example on the right of a young person kind of beginning an image, and I can look at those images forever because they are compositionally, uses of color, uses of imaginative lines and things of that nature. They're just fantastic. They're really, really amazing works of art. Finally, the Hobo Convention in Britt, Iowa. Men and women who wish to keep the hobo culture alive meet in Britt, Iowa to share experiences and friendships. They also attempt to change the public's perception of hobos and hobo culture. They meet every summer in the month of August down there. And this is just an image from, I want to say, a hobo kind of gathering in Britt, Iowa 2 years ago. So you really see a variety of people there kind of gathered together, again, like I said, to change to a certain degree their the identity or the perception. So I'm just going to click on this. Now I'm just going to read from the hobo signs. It seemed to make sense to project the images The first time I read these poems was at a bookstore on Locust Avenue in Milwaukee called Woodland Patterns. Just an excellent bookstore. But I made the images on large sheets of paper, so I tried to hold them up and read the poem at the same time, which was not very good. So it seemed like technology was the best way to go with this idea. And what I'm going to do is I'll project the image of the Hobos symbol, and then I'll read the title, and you can kind of just sort of, think a little bit about it. Let's see, I was going to say one other thing before I started reading. When you are reading a novel, let's say, by J.K. Rowling, and one of the things that we do as readers is temporarily we suspend our disbelief. In other words, so the time that we're reading a book by Harry Potter, we believe that there's a game called Quidditch, and we believe that there is a school for witches and wizards. And I guess what I would ask those of you here, those of you who are at the other campuses, to think a little bit about is that as you look at the symbol, try to imagine what it is like or was like for the hobos who may have been walking for 8 hours before they saw this sign. Maybe they haven't eaten for maybe about 24 hours. They could be a younger hobo, or they could be a hobo who has been on the road for the last 15 years. So one of the things I tried to think about and tried to develop with each one of these poems was that whenever we look at anything, we bring our own experiences to them. We bring our complexities to them. We bring what has happened before and what we kind of hope to imagine in the future. This is called Hit the Road. The story goes like this. You've heard it before. The sound of your footsteps grows distant in the dark. Beneath the stars' peculiar light, you realize you are walking away from yourself. There's no pity here. There's only the body attuned to its own diminishing. Jail or prison? Jail's got a window, jail's got a breeze, jail's got a train whistle, jail's got fleas. Prison's for dying, prison's a horrible noise, prison's got gang of terrible boys. Go to jail if you can, just sleep with the fleas. Stay out of prison and the blue dungarees. The Lord, He knows, He sees your sinning. The Lord turns His back, and that's just the beginning. Prison's for dying. Prison's a terrible sound. Walking into prison's like walking into the ground. Go to jail if you can. Just sleep with the fleas. Stay out of prison and the blue dungarees. You'll notice in that last poem, there's a real simple A, B rhyme scheme. And